Today we're going to be covering Lesson 31-3, Graphing a Quadratic Function. This lesson will be split into two separate sections, questions for example A, and then question 1 and 2. Introduction says, if a quadratic function can be written in a factored form, you can graph it by finding the vertex and the zeros. Example A has been worked out for us. It says, Step 1, determine the axis of symmetry by using x equals negative b over 2a. Step 2, determine the vertex. The x-coordinate is 0.5, so substitute that in to find the y-coordinate. Step 3, determine the zeros of the function and set the function equal to 0 and solve. Step 4, graph the function. So you're going to find step 1, we need to do axis of symmetry. Step 2, find vertex. Step 3, find zeros. Step 4, graph. Well, example A has been worked out for us, but let's go ahead and take a look at try these for A. Check the graph in example A by plotting two more points on the graph. First, choose an x value, and then find the y value by evaluating the function. Plot the point. Then plot the reflection of the point over the axis of symmetry to get another point. Verify that both points are on the graph. Okay. So my function is y equals x squared minus x minus 12. And they had found in step 1, the axis of symmetry was x equals 0.5. In step 2, they found that the vertex was at 0.5 comma negative 12.25. In step 3, they found that their zeros were at negative 3 comma 0 and 4 comma 0. And then they graphed it. Okay, what I want to do is I want to plug another point in. Well, I obviously don't want to use the zeros, and I don't want to use our vertex. So I want to plug in something other than those. So let's try the point negative 1. Okay, so let's say y equals negative 1 squared minus a negative 1 minus 12. Well, that's positive 1 plus 1 minus 12. That's going to be 2 minus 12, which is negative 10. So this ordered pair is negative 1 comma negative 10. Let's find that on our picture. Negative 1 comma negative 10 is right here. Now, that is 1.5 away from our axis of symmetry. So if we go 1.5 in the other direction, that would be at 2. So I'm thinking that there should be an ordered pair at 2 comma negative 10. So let's take a look at that. Y equals 2 squared minus 2 minus 12. Well, that's going to be 4 minus 2 minus 12. That is 2 minus 12, which is indeed a negative 10, and that ordered pair was 2, negative 10. So we have double checked and verified that that is on there. says graph the quadratic functions by finding the vertex and the zeros. Check your graphs. And it wants us to graph B, C, and D. All right. I'm actually going to do these on a graph style paper. So it always says find our axis of symmetry. So we're going to do B. And to do that, we do, this is y equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. So we're going to identify A is 1, B is negative 2, and C is negative 8. Step 1. Negative B, so negative negative 2 over 2A, which is 2 times 1. Oh, and this is x equals, sorry. Should have put that in there. Double negative is a positive, so that's going to be 2. And 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 1. Step 2. Find the zeros. We find the zeros by factoring. What two numbers can I multiply to get negative 8, but when added, give me a negative 2? So we're going to have y equals, sorry. Oh, sorry, step 2 is not this step. Step 2 is actually to find the vertex. I'm sorry. We do that by plugging in 1 into our equation. So we're going to have y equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. That's going to be 1 minus 2 minus 8. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. So we have axis of symmetry is x equals 1. We have a vertex at 1, negative 9. Now step 3, we're going to find our zeros. All right, to find our zeros, we're going to factor. So we have y equals x and x. We need two numbers that will multiply to give me negative 8. So negative 4 and 2 are negative 2 and 4. But whenever I subtract them, I want a negative 2. So it's going to be negative 4, positive 2. We're going to set these equal to 0. So 0 equals x minus 4. And 0 equals x plus 2. Solve for x. So I got x equals 4. And x equals negative 2. So let's take a look at what we got here. Oops, my graph isn't going to fit down there. You have to move this line up a little bit. There we go. I really need to make this up here. Okay. So we'll say that these are 2, 4, 6, 8, and this is going to be 10 down here, right? So I know that there's a vertex at 1, -9. So that's going to be right about here. And then we have zeros at -2 and +4. This is 2, 3, 4. So the graph is going to look like such. This is the picture of B. Okay, I'm going to kind of tape this off to the side here. We're going to look at C. So step 1, x equals -b over 2a. So x equals, well, a is -1, b is +4, and c is 0. So this would be -4 over 2 times -1. That's going to be -4 over -2, which is a +2. Step 2 says find your vertex. So plug that 2 into your equation. So we're going to do y equals 4 times 2 minus 2 squared. That's 8 minus 4, which equals 4. So that ordered pair is 2, 4. Step 3 says find your zeros. So we need to factor. This is going to be y equals x, parentheses, 4 minus x. So we'd set these equal to 0. So 0 would equal x, and 0 would equal 4 minus x. If I add x to both sides, this gives me x equals 4. So my zeros are at 0, 0, and 4, 0. So now in step 4, we graph the 3 important points. So let's take a look. We got a point at 0, 0. We got a point at 4, 0. And I've got a point at 2, 4. So it looks like such. And remember, it says my axis of symmetry was at x equals 2. So it's down this line right here. Let's take a look at our very last example in the try these on your own. I meant the try these A. So let's look at D. So first going to identify A is 1, B is 4, C is -5. So step 1, x equals -4 over 2 times 1, which is -4 over 2, which is -2. Step 2 says plug the -2 in, find your vertex. So y equals -2 squared plus 4 times -2 minus 5. That equals 4 minus 8 minus 5. That simplifies to -4 minus 5, which is -9. So the vertex is at -2, -9. Step 3 says find your zeros by factoring. So we would say y equals x plus 5, x minus 1. Because I want two numbers that will multiply to give me -5. So 5 and 1. And we want the 5 to be positive because we want our 4 positive. So we set both of these equal to 0. So 0 equals x plus 5. 0 equals x minus 1. So we add 1, subtract 5. So negative 5 equals x. And 1 equals x. So this is negative 5, 0, and 1, 0. And then we go to graph. I'm going to count these by 2s. So negative 5, 0 is here. Positive 1, 0 is here. We've got negative 2, comma, negative 9. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So it's going to look almost like this. And remember, your axis of symmetry is going to be along this line right here. Take a moment to get this copied down and marked up. There is a debriefing question on the next slide. Go ahead and take a look at that.